Welcome to Let's Play Stalker Call of Pripyat. If you haven't seen our first Let's Play of Shadow of Chernobyl, I did make a best of compilation. You can watch that. Otherwise, the game actually starts with a bit of a recap of the first game, so it's okay if you just started here. I am joined once again by Jiggly Jacob.
Hello, it's been a while since it was just the two of us.
Yeah, I did ask Highwing if he wanted to join us, but unfortunately he's too busy to do post-commentary these days.
Yeah.
So it's just us. Jacob, I know you were really annoyed by some of the mechanics of Shadow of Chernobyl. You might like Call of Pripyat. It actually irons quite a few things out. And in fact, Shadow of Chernobyl required a few mods to make it work. Call of Pripyat is able to function just fine vanilla.
That is quite the feature, I gotta say. This game works.
They had to do it eventually.
At 0123, on April 26, 1986, the reactor of Power Block 4 of Chernobyl NPP is destroyed following a series of thermal explosions. The resulting radioactive cloud moves across the European part of the USSR, Eastern Europe, and Scandinavia, eventually reaching America. The consequences of the disaster are so serious that the government is forced to begin evacuating the residents of nearby towns and villages. A 30-kilometer exclusion zone is created to stop residents from returning to the contaminated area. Despite the disaster, the Chernobyl NPP continues to operate. The existence of a power station, as well as the fact that the area is no longer inhabited, leads the Council of Ministers of the USSR to set up a network of secret laboratories in the exclusion zone. June 11th, 2006. The exclusion zone lights up with a flash of blinding light as clouds can be seen evaporating in the sky. After a moment of complete silence, the peal of thunder shakes the ground. Most of the government forces guarding the perimeter are killed instantly. 2008. Scientists are still unable to explain what happened. Rare expeditions into the zone usually end in tragedy, with survivors telling stories of mutated animals with incredible abilities roaming the area. According to various estimates, by 2010, the zone is home to between 100 and 300 unknown individuals. They call themselves stalkers and make their living by collecting anomalous formations known as artifacts, which they sell for considerable sums of money. 2011. Despite military cordons, the stalker phenomenon is growing in numbers. However, stalkers travel primarily around the zone's edges, with the center remaining terra incognita. The few attempts to penetrate deeper into the zone have all ended in failure. 2012. A stalker called Straylock solves the secret of the brain scorcher, a man-made emitter that had blocked the way to the center of the zone for years. After the brain scorcher is disabled, all stalkers rush for the center of the zone. Some in hopes of finding a treasure trove of artifacts, others in search of the wish granter. The government decides to launch a large-scale military operation. Operation Fairway, as it came to be known, involves using maps of anomaly fields to maneuver helicopters to the CNPP. Despite meticulous preparation, the operation is a failure, and none of the helicopters return from the mission. Major Degtyarev, a USS special agent, is sent into the zone to investigate the disappearance of the helicopters. Disguised as a stalker, equipped with a regular assault rifle, 2 weeks' worth of supplies, and a radio to communicate with HQ, the Major begins his journey towards the center of the zone.
The Ukrainian military sent in some helicopters into the zone to basically see if they could potentially take it over for the Ukraine, and all the copters immediately crashed. So Degtyarev is now here to just figure out what the hell happened, and he's going in undercover as a stalker. There's sort of a missed opportunity for story here, though, because Degtyarev came from Chernobyl. He was there when the power plant originally exploded and was evacuated, and he lived in the exclusion zone for a while as a stalker before joining the military, and none of that really comes up in the story. It feels like a really good opportunity for some character, but it doesn't really come into it, unfortunately.
Howdy ho. Talk to the boss if you need something.
We can already see some improvements in production quality. First of all, the opening cutscene had music, which the last game didn't have a lot of. And this lighting looks really nice. The textures and stuff look a bit of its time, but the lighting, I quite like it.
I will admit, I do have a couple mods on here, but that's pretty much entirely just for general textures and for the skybox. It cleaned up the skybox a little bit. It didn't clean it up perfectly. You're going to see a lot of tearing just along the edges of the game world. But otherwise, even in vanilla, the game looks reasonably good. It came out in 2010, I think.
Yeah, seems about right.
But we've just been dropped into the zone. We're in sort of a swampy area. We just need to find an area where stalkers can go, maybe get some gossip. Potentially someone has seen one of the helicopters crash around here. Call of Pripyat, compared to Shadow of Chernobyl and Clear Sky, is actually much more of an open world game. We're in basically a sandbox. So you're going to see little collections of stalkers walking around. And generally, they're not immediately your enemy like the bandits were in the first game. So you can go up and talk to them. If you look on the mini-map, one of them will be a star. That's the one that you can actually talk to. And there's a few things you can do. You can ask them if there's anything nearby, if there are any rumors that they know, or you can ask them to actually lead you to a specific place on the map for a small fee. So this guy, he could take me to pretty much every anomaly in the area if I wanted to just immediately get some artifacts. Or he can take me to the sawmill, which is where you get an upgrade item that we give to this guy, Cardan, to upgrade our weapons and armor. We can do that right now if we wanted.
That's awesome. I love that idea.
But our main goal right now is to get to Skadovsk. That's a grounded ship, but I can just run forward and find it. It's right along the way. This is our game map. The game is composed of 3 major game maps. We have to talk to a guide in Skadovsk in order to go to the second one. That's the one right there. It's the area around the Jupiter plant. We'll talk a little more about that. The Jupiter plant is actually a real place in Pripyat, I think. At least in Chernobyl. It was like an undercover weapons operation for the Soviet Union. And then the third map is Pripyat itself. It's actually a different area of Pripyat than we went to in Shadow of Chernobyl. And a lot of the game, like Shadow of Chernobyl, is based on real places in Chernobyl. A few things have been moved around for the sake of an interesting game world, though. But here we are. We're basically set free. We can do anything we want. We have very low equipment, so there's not a whole lot we can do. But immediately we can see some mutants walking around. There's another grounded ship over there. There's a quest with an artifact over there. We can see a campfire. That's generally a sign that there are some friendly stalkers over there. So like if you're lost and you need someone to lead you somewhere, that's a good sort of direction to go. That is one of the anomalies. There are general smaller anomalies like we saw in Shadow of Chernobyl. But in this game, there are also bigger anomalies that are just part of the game world. Those are the places to go if you want to find artifacts. In the first game, artifacts were generally just things you found around the world, and you can kind of still do that. But in Clear Sky and in this game, you need your anomaly detector in order to actually find the artifacts. They literally won't spawn in until you found them on the detector. It takes a bit of skill this time to get artifacts. Right now, we can just run ahead to Skadovsk. My equipment load is extremely light, so you'll notice in the down right, my stamina reduces very slowly, but the more that I collect and the more that I'm carrying on me, the faster it'll go down. And if I start getting encumbered, it's going to plummet pretty much immediately and I can't run.
Stalker, if you want to get on board, put that gun away.
Like this guy.
Over there. Go
Yeah.
talk to him.
I love that all the stalkers just pant constantly when they're running.
Listen up. Sultan wants to see you.
We made it to Skadovsk and already everyone is yelling at us to do something for them.
Oh, finally, you're here.
I don't get paid to listen to your shit.
Knuckles!
The boss does.
So, you managed to drag your ass over here? Bravo!
Sultan here is a leader of the bandits. Skadovsk is kind of like the Switzerland of the zone, in that both bandits and friendly stalkers congregate here. And as long as they don't start any shit, they don't do anything. But as soon as they leave Skadovsk, the gloves are off. Later in this exact part, we're going to see them just going to war on each other.
See you. Hey, if you manage to welcome aboard our swamp icebreaker.
I'm over here. Okay, there we go.
This is Beard. He has a few quests for us. He's kind of the leader of Skadovsk. Generally, he's the guy to talk to if you have artifacts and you're looking for someone to sell them to. Also, we can just straight up sell out Sultan. This LP, compared to Shadow of Chernobyl, is a little bit more of a completionist LP, but I'm not necessarily going to do every mission and get every potential result for it. But I am just at least going to do every mission at least once. The reason for that is, in this case, this little beef between Sultan and Beard can go like 3 or 4 ways. They're not different enough to be interesting. Some of them do affect the ultimate ending that you get. There are kind of multiple endings for the game. There's one specific thing that you do to complete the game, but the things you've done along the way change what happens to the characters that you've met, sort of like the Fallout games. I believe Grouse was a character from the previous games. A few characters do return in Call of Pripyat.
Sultan did kind of look and sound like the barkeep from the last game. Probably no relation, huh?
Probably not. Might be the same voice actor.
Forget about it.
I love that. That's one of the options. Forget about it. I think we'll be going to the dredge station next time. We actually won't see any combat ourselves in this part. This is mostly a way of getting started, figuring out what to do, building up some funds. One of the hardest things at the start of the game is to get more rubles. You can see we start out with 2,500. That does not go very far. And the hardest thing is, you can pick up weapons from enemies, but often they're just... Actually, I'll get there in a second. Food is a major issue when it comes to your carry weight. Really, the only food you need to carry with you are those tins, because they weigh the least, and when you eat them, they fill you the most. The bread and the sausage just weigh you down, so for the most part, I just sell them to the shopkeeps. You want a lot of these energy drinks, though. Super useful when you're just running around the game map. And we want a little bit of vodka, because at the start, that's the best way to get rid of radiation. But immediately we could see I've lost a good chunk of my money, and it's going to be kind of hard to get some of that back. You can get weapons from other stalkers when they die,
Drop in if something interesting comes up.
but if they're too damaged, then nobody will buy them from you. There is a guy who will repair weapons here. His name's Cardin. We heard about him before. But unless you're friends with Cardin, generally it's not going to be beneficial to repair the weapons so that you can sell them, unless they're already decent enough quality that it's close enough you could sell them anyway. We'll sort of see what I mean in a little bit. Here you can see you are able to sleep and progress time to any hour in the day, and you're able to do this at the major outposts of the 3 maps. There's not many downsides to this. There's one major upside to it we'll see later in this video.
So, did you find anything out about Magpie?
I've asked everywhere, but it's useless. Nobody knows a thing. It's like he's a poltergeist or something.
That son of a bitch is going to regret running away.
Oh, crab.
Hang in there, buddy. The doc said you'll be up on your feet in a couple of days. You might as well use this time to rest up and chill.
Hey, Stalker, come here. I got a question for you.
He's got very Dr. Nick inflections.
Magpie. So there's a stalker going around who's been screwing a few people over. Important thing to remember. This dude Magpie basically conned these people by asking them for help dealing with a controller. You might remember controllers from Shadow of Chernobyl.
Oh, yeah.
They gave you tinnitus and then punched you with their brain.
Said it way better than I could have said it.
So remember that. That's going to be key. Magpie is a character that we're not going to see for a while because he's actually under a different name.
Ooh. So maybe we'll see him, but we just won't know it.
Exactly. So we just got to find a way to make him out himself, and preferably by talking about controllers and chimeras. But this guy, he's a member of a small group that hunts mutants, and we could talk to him and ask about how to deal with some of those mutants.
No, not now. Yes?
Oh, don't steal from me.
Oh.
This is Tremor. Most safe zones will have a doctor there. We can talk to Tremor if we need healing or if we're a bit radiated. There's a few chems. Most chems aren't super useful. Hercules here is extremely useful. That increases your carry weight 20 kilograms.
Ooh.
And keep in mind, when you're encumbered, as in you go over your maximum weight, which in this case is 50k, you can still go 10 more kilograms before you're just locked in place and can't move. That also applies when you drink Hercules, so it effectively increases your carry weight to 80 kilograms.
That's really good. And the fact that it's temporary, I saw, that's a unique mechanic there.
Yeah, like Fallout, when you drink beer and suddenly you can carry more.
Yes, of course. Goodbye.
I've not played enough Fallout to know that.
What are you? A statue? If you got something, spill the beans. If not, take a hike.
Owl here has a few jobs for us. He's sort of a trader. He's not really friends with Beard. He'll just work with whoever will give him money. He's got a decent selection. For the most part, you don't need to buy weapons or armor. You'll get them just by playing through the game. But if you're in a tight spot and you've got the cash, why not? I believe Clear Sky introduced weapon mods. Generally, you need to upgrade weapons before you can actually apply mods. Like, I've got an AK right now. I don't think it's actually able to equip a silencer yet. You can also buy information from him. I beat the game, and I did pretty much every quest, so I don't need to. He's not going to tell you anything that you can't learn normally, including what happened to the helicopters.
Man, I've never liked how this game displays text. It's so... It feels like I'm reading like a medical document.
Alright, so here we see there's a few helicopters around Skadovsk.
Attention, stalkers.
Oh.
An emission is approaching. I repeat, an emission is approaching.
Get on out of here.
Now, at this point while I was recording, I was sort of mentally going
Hello.
because emissions are something that should be really annoying. They were introduced in Clear Sky. If you remember in Shadow of Chernobyl, a few emissions happened. Okay, Snag, well, Snag just wants me to find something that fell into a cave. That's no problem. We'll come back to Snag later. But, emissions were effectively sea consciousness, the people in charge of everything that happened in the zone, causing this psychic and radiation explosion that will kill everything that's not in cover.
Whoa.
Strelok killed everyone in sea consciousness, so now the zone just does this every single day. It looks really cool, and you actually have a decent amount of time to get into cover before the emission actually hits. But here I thought, it's the start of the game.
Whoa.
I'm gonna be avoiding emissions at this point. Why don't we see what they're actually like?
Attention, stalkers. An emission will start any minute now. Find cover if you want to live.
It's the start of the game. May as well die. Oh.
Keep an eye out. You see all those crows flying around. They are real entities in the game. As in, you can shoot them and they'll fall, but also they'll be affected by the emissions. Here we can see my health is draining. You cannot heal fast enough to survive an emission. You need to get into cover.
This is spooky.
It's pretty cool. I think it's technically doing psi damage. So like I'm trying to heal.
Oh.
Nope.
I want to die with a chocolate bar in my mouth.
Wait for it. There goes a crow.
Stalkers, the emission is finally over. I hope you're all in one piece. Attention, stalkers. An emission is approaching. I repeat,
It's a real...
an emission is
Oh,
approaching.
this happened?
Seek
Whoa.
cover immediately.
Everything is wrong with Crab now.
Emissions, not even once.
Now I can walk like a crab. Oh, God.
I see this game is still delightfully jankified. Quit looking at me. This is just how I sleep.
You know what, Godin? I think
Hello.
he's kind of okay.
Well, good luck to you. Howdy ho.
Howdy ho, get used to hearing that.
Hello. What brings you to our humble vessel?
So there is actually a way
Drop
to
in if you
survive
find any
emissions,
artifacts.
but it requires you finding certain types of drugs. They're pretty rare. We'll be seeing that in a bit. Snag, we're going to get his loot for him, but then we're actually going to cut off his story branch. He has an entire story. Snag is a piece of shit. There's no harm in just taking his stuff and keeping it for yourself. But if you do actually follow his story, it'll take you all the way across the game, and you will get to decide the fate of his life. Pilot right here is the guy that we talked to transfer between the game maps. He can take us to Yanov Station, which is outside Jupiter. He's also the guy to talk to if you want to learn about anomalies.
We can bond with him. He also looks decently handsome.
Yeah. Emissions are fatal. What's most fatal about them is you may not necessarily know what counts as cover.
Oh.
It needs to be like a proper building, like Skadovsk. Or it needs to be in a cave.
Find cover if you want to live.
Thankfully, when an emission happens, you will actually get a mission, like not an emission, but you will get a quest that points you in the direction of something that counts as cover. Now here you see, there's a few stalkers still outside. They haven't gotten into Skadovsk yet. They're the yellow star and dot moving. The dot refers to like a friend of the stalker that you can't talk to. He'll just tell you, talk to the boss.
Go on, buddies.
I don't know what they're doing. And they died.
Stalkers, the emission is finally over. I hope you're all in one piece.
Can we go see their bodies?
We can. And here is how you get money. You loot the dead. The problem is, I don't know exactly where they were. What they were doing is, they had climbed onto this little boat and gone onto the bridge over into Skadovsk. which is like the long way to get inside of Skadovsk.
How common are emissions? It feels like the two happened like real close to each other.
Oh, that's just because I reloaded.
Oh, okay.
Because I had died.
From the said emission.
Yeah. But they're supposed to happen at least once every 24 hours. Not always on the dot 24 hours, but every day there will be one at some point. And right away, I got 2 really good guns. They're pretty shit quality, like they're kind of broken up, which just tends to be how it is if you pick up weapons off of bodies. But the one currently in my inventory, I think it's called a Linfield, and also an AK-74. AK-74 is a pretty good workhorse gun. Unlike Shadow Chernobyl, where you could only have 1 pistol and then any larger weapon equipped, here you can have 2 larger weapons equipped.
Well, hopefully the AK will be a bit more friendly to you this time around.
It will be, and also I was smart enough to actually switch over to a better weapon. The problem with Shadow Chernobyl is you cannot repair your weapons. In this game you can, and as long as your weapons are of decent quality, they won't be too inaccurate.
Those things are called meats, right? Oh no!
Those are the flesh.
The flesh, right, I was close.
I think Highwing just calls them meats.
Got it. It looked like they were just playing with that dog. I honestly thought it'd be cute if they were, like it'll weirdly humanizes the monsters.
Apparently the flesh are like just mutated pigs.
Hey, Stalker. How are you?
One thing I noticed when the emission was starting was that you had some people just kind of casually walking in, like this fucking bizarre-ass thing is normal to them. I think that's cool.
Yeah. Martha. So here we see they're too damaged to sell. That colored bar underneath them signifies how damaged they are. If the color isn't green, then generally nobody's going to buy it from you. Most grenades I don't find particularly useful, so I'm going to sell a lot of those.
That's right.
But I especially want to repair the Enfield. That's a really good gun to find at this point of the game. And we have 17 minutes left in the video. I am not done being a filthy lucker.
Howdy.
In this one part. But this is Carden. He's our first repair guy. There's a bit of a trick with him. He can modify and upgrade our weapons, but he needs to be drunk first.
That's clever. It's like, you could tell from the options that it's like pointing you towards the booze direction.
Yeah. He can repair them and do some very minor mods at first, but if you want any more, one, he needs better tools, like the one you can find at Sawmill. I think I'm going to get that relatively quickly. And he needs a shot of vodka.
He needs better tools, and he needs better booze.
Yeah. But this right here, I want that. I want that right now.
Ooh.
See? Now I can modify it and put in a silencer.
Oh, sweet.
I think in Stalker games, silencers actually reduce accuracy, which is not how silencers work in real life. But that's actually not a problem for me. The Enfield is inherently a really accurate gun, so reduction of it isn't too big of a problem. When you fully upgrade it, it could amount to a silenced sniper rifle.
Oh my god.
So, like, that's no problem to me.
Well, just the prospect of a sniper rifle in a Stalker game, I already like that idea.
There's a few of them.
Here's to a steady hand.
And it's not going to take me long to find one.
Oh, I already love this game.
So here we go. We can give him 3 shots of vodka. You only want to give him 2.
Here's to a good day's work.
I keep it in my wrist.
So here I'm deciding, Something's going to happen if you give him a third shot of vodka. After the second shot, though, he tells me about a couple of friends of his called Joker and Barge. And I want to talk to him about it because that starts a quest.
Joker and the Barge of the Night. Bam, bam, bam.
Full of piss and vinegar. Not vodka, though. They were too young. Or not, they were out drinking. And there we go. I don't know. I imagine this game is good about actually putting stuff onto the map, regardless of whether you know about it or not. In Shadow Chernobyl and Clear Sky, you needed to actually find the location of a stash from another character or on a corpse before the stash will actually be there. In this game, they're all there from the start. So if you know where they are, you can go straight there and steal everything.
Wasn't it more like you could find the stash, but it would be empty until you discovered the right person?
Yeah, it was basically an empty container. In this game, they're actually lying on the ground in the overworld.
Good. That was one of the most nonsense things about Shadow of Chernobyl.
Oh, yeah. There are mods to change that in the other games. In this one, you don't have to.
Good. Good.
This is what a lot of being in Skadovsk is like for me. I repair weapons, I sell them to get more money so that I can repair more weapons and upgrade more armor and weapons and such. There, I'm basically empty now. There's not a whole lot I can do. So, go ahead and have a third shot.
Here's to our common goal.
Common goal! But when that happens...
Good night.
Yep. Oh, I don't think he liked that one.
Ugh. Cheap shit. Please, Ragdoll. Aw.
I wish. That would suck. He just straight up dies. But then he goes to sleep, and it's going to be a good few in-game hours before he wakes up. You can go to sleep and press time, and he'll wake up again. Jesus Christ.
God, he needs a nasal strip.
Come on, leave me alone.
So yeah, only give him 2 shots of vodka at one time.
It's over there. Help yourself to a drink.
I want to point out a couple things on the mini-map. The compass isn't super important. You can just... The hotkey for me is to press P to pull up your PDA. That's both your list of quests and your map. You don't really need a compass, per se. But the green line, that signifies whether people can see you. We're in Skadovsk, that goes without saying. There's a blue line that signifies how loud you are, like how much noise you're making. So you can see a little bit coming up because I'm walking around on metal. Keep that in mind. Both of those are basically what tells you how stealthy you're being. Ah, see? This guy's pointing me in the direction of the sawmill.
Well,
Blurf!
I love Beard. I feel like he feels like one of those guys that has that facial expression no matter what his current emotion is.
Yeah.
I'm not because of a video game, but like if you were a real person, you'd still be like that.
Yeah.
Skadovsk won't be going anywhere, that's for sure.
Grouse here is going to help us deal with a bloodsucker later. Later as in, like, next part, I think.
I'm listening.
So say something.
Hey, bro.
I love that anyone that isn't a specific NPC has a name and a noun as their name.
Drop by sometime. We'll have a good time.
I do love those random name conventions. I think Metal Gear did that a lot.
Yeah.
Like Peace Walker in 5.
Well, I'm just loaded up full of options. I'm not sure what to do first. The choice is actually going to kind of be made for me. You know how I mentioned the bandits and the stalkers are friendly with each other as long as they're in Skadovsk? Well, like 10 yards away, they're not friendly anymore.
Hey, we're out of Skadovsk now. Now, every man for themselves.
So, I think they're warring right now. There's a bunch of bodies. Mitka Pimp, wow.
I picked that name. Do you like it?
Oh, we found one still alive. In that case, you can give them a med kit and they'll actually become your friends.
Oh my god, that med kit.
It's instantaneous for them. I think he died.
This is some magic shit. Oh, well. We'll give him another med kit and see what happens.
No, but this is great. The bandits and the stalkers are just at war, and since I'm neutral, they don't care about me, I can rob all their bodies, and now I'm just loaded up full of weapons, a lot of which are not super degraded, so I can sell those and get more cash.
That's awesome, but scummy as fuck.
Yeah. I swear, if it hadn't happened, I would have gotten money and weapons legitimately. But this is kind of what it's like at the start. See, look, you can actually see Tomka corpse there.
You don't say.
He had actually cleared out a few of the other bodies. Stalkers will actually search through bodies and take whatever's in there. So if you're with other stalkers and you want to loot the bodies, get there first. So here we see Hercules helping me. I'm super over-encumbered, but I drank a Hercules, and now I can dash without draining my stamina super fast.
Nice. Sounds like you might want to save the...
You think you're hard or something? Holster that shooter.
Were you saying to save the Hercules?
Yeah, sorry, I was distracted by the gun in my face.
Yeah.
They seem like things you want to save because you might find, like, oh, a super helpful gun, but I got so much shit in my pocket.
Definitely. And Hercules aren't very common, so save them for the right points.
Hello.
A big part of the game is that you don't have a whole lot of carry weight. You need to be mindful on what you have on your body.
I'm all ears, buddy.
But on the plus side, a lot of the stalkers that you can talk to, you can also trade with. And again, the weapon can't be too degraded, but if they have the money, you can sell them and they don't question it. They don't haggle with you necessarily. They don't even say, I don't want this weapon. They'll buy the weapon from you. I want to hang on to that AK. It's a lot better than the AK that I had.
Well, hello.
Goodbye.
And Hercules, I think, lasts 6 minutes.
The timer said 300 seconds, so yeah, I think that's correct.
That'll be 5 minutes then.
Right, that's what I first thought, but then you made me second guess myself. I can't get over the guy named Corpse. Like, what? You were just asking for this at this point.
I mean, inevitably.
Yeah.
How and when doesn't matter, but one day.
Hello. Good hunting.
Good hunting of my friends.
Hey, you guys, where are you going?
No, he's still knocked out.
Well,
Aw,
I'll stay here.
he's moaning in his sleep about his friends.
What?
I can sell my pistols. I hang on to pistols occasionally. I forget to ever use them because they're not anywhere as reliable as bigger guns.
It does take a special game to make pistols useful, but man, I do love those games.
They're decent enough. Again, you'll probably want to upgrade them and repair them first. Good idea to hang on to a shotgun. There are some really good shotguns in this game. The hunting shotgun is okay. It's a 2-bullet shotgun, so situational, but shotguns are very good for taking care of mutants really quickly. Also, I got a better detector. This is actually the second level of detector. And this might be the... No, that's the first level detector. It beeps when you get close to artifacts. It does not tell you about anomalies, though. But that second level, it actually has a small little radar, which will point you in the direction of the artifact. So immediately a lot better. There's another upgrade of artifact, which will have an actual mini-map on it, so you can see relatively where it is in the world. But then there's a fourth upgrade after that that will also show anomalies for you so you can dodge them. Yeah, like I said, this is what being in Skadovsk for me is like.
Don't let the door hit you.
Selling weapons, repairing them, buying ammo, etc. For now, because Carden is asleep, I'm just going to be putting these away so that I can actually free up my inventory. There we go. As long as your carry weight is under 40 kilograms, your stamina won't drain too quickly while you're dashing.
I see your equipped items don't count towards your carry weight.
They do, but literally everything on your body right now counts towards it.
Oh, okay, they just don't count towards your storage. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah. And thankfully, Skadovsk and also the central hub-ish area of Yanov both have their own containers that are just for you to store stuff in. You come here and they're like, okay, have a stash for yourself.
Have a stash.
I'm kind of hungry right now, but you can starve to death. You don't have to worry about it too much. I think one can of food completely fills you up.
Not a big eater.
So you can see when you're hungry, that does reduce your energy recovery. There we go.
Here's to a steady hand.
Thank you for appreciating my magic tricks. Everyone's annoyed by them, except for you.
Now I can actually repair the AK. But I can't equip a scope. I can boost the scope that's already on the infield. And now I'm out of money.
Soon you'll be able to see microorganisms with it.
It's going to make shooting with it very hard.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
If you're going to hang on to the pistols, like mostly use it as backup and at least keep 100 bullets for it. You don't need a whole lot more than that. But there. I've got 2 really good guns, a decent shotgun, a backup pistol if I need it.
All right.
And I think the Enfield is silenced, so I got very lucky in just this first part. You yourself may not get that lucky, but if you can find dead people or even just stalkers walking around and kill them quickly and steal their stuff, that's a good way to actually get a decent head start in Call of Pripyat. The main reason that I didn't LP this game immediately after Shadow Chernobyl was that I died within 3 minutes every time I tried playing it.
Yikes. Is there really that much RNG reliant on whether or not you succeed?
a lot of things will change. Where people are changes constantly, what they're doing. For the most part, it's just I didn't know what to do, but waiting on it, going back to it sort of with a fresh perspective, I was able to actually complete the game this time. And so for part one, I wanted to sort of tell you how to start and what to do at the beginning. And then in part two, we're going to start actually doing some quests. We're going to go out, find some artifacts, find some treasure, and fuck with the bandits a bit.
All right. After 45 minutes, it's time to start the game.
Yeah. Sorry about that.